Thanks again for joining us on another Pulsebeat episode sponsored by Cardio Miracle. I've got Jason Hewlett in the studio. Really excited to ask him some questions. We're going to discuss health and wellness as we've both recently returned from the gym. so we decided to stay in our gym clothes and just chat. So
chatting in gym clothes.
Yeah, man. Let's do it, man. How was your gym sesh today?
Session was good. I'm pretty much beat up though because it's been a lot of movement, a lot of actually plane rides and other things mixed in between the working out. So I feel good though. It's good.
Good, man.
How about
That's
you?
Awesome.
What'd you do today?
I feel great. You know, whenever I have like a back day, I work my back, and I've got my straps here that I wear on my wrists, and I really pump it out. So it was really good. So
what do the straps help you do? For the person who doesn't need or use straps because he doesn't use enough weight.
The straps help me with, putting them on the bar so I can lift more. So my grip strength is good throughout my whole workout instead of waning, during the hardest part of my workout. So
wow. So you're doing that much weight, huh?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I lift real heavy. So feels good, man. It was really exciting today what happened, actually, the inauguration, and the new places that our country's going and everything. And I really wanted to sit down and kind of talk about the health and wellness of how you think and how both of us can kind of chime in on how we feel like the health and wellness of the country could go and should go going forward.
Yeah, so we're recording this the day of the inauguration, which is Martin Luther King Day, as well as the inauguration of our 47th President, Donald J. Trump. I didn't realize his middle name was John. Donald John Trump. That's cool.
I didn't know that either. Just thought
but
it was Jay.
It was cool to hear him giving us some great, things in terms of the plans for the future, the inaugural speech. All of those things are historic, and it was a special deal. In fact, I was just there over the weekend, and that was a really special thing to be a part of because we did an event with Moms for America that was great, and it was cool to be in Washington, D.C., and to see how they set up all the security, and there were gates everywhere. In fact, if you've never been back to Washington, D.C. during an inauguration, it's incredible. They have these big gate-like fence things that are 8 to 10 feet high that are metal, and they secure all around every sidewalk, even blocks and blocks away from the Capitol, all up and down the mall, which is the mall goes all the way to the Washington Memorial, all the way down to Lincoln Memorial. I mean, it's like this 4-mile stretch. So I never had any idea that they did that kind of security. And then the inauguration itself didn't even happen outside like it usually does. So 95% of the people that got tickets didn't even get to go see the inauguration. They were watching it from an arena or something else. So it was a little bit different. But to answer your question, in terms of health and wellness moving forward, well, we've been through an interesting time in our country's history. When President Trump was president before the pandemic hit, we weren't sure how to respond to it. I know that my dad and our family was letting us know that everything we should not do the injections that could harm us. I remember getting those videos and that information. Now here we are 5 years later. I remember getting those from my family and thinking, wow, my parents are kind of nuts. I was scared that I didn't know what to do because my in-laws were saying they were the first in line to get the jab.
Right. And
we were just like, what do we do, right? And so I don't really know what can be talked about without us being censored. Do you know?
Well, it's what's nice is that I feel like freedom of speech is coming back, that we're able to go forward and press forward. And I talk about it every day on all the different podcasts I'm on. So I don't know. It seems pretty open discussion to me. But,
well, that'd be good. So let's just talk as if this can be aired and, Patriot TV and everywhere else that this might be airing, that it's okay to say it. But yeah, I know that our family, we really toiled to figure out whether we should take it or not. And it wasn't until later into the process that it actually came out that Cardio Miracle helps people whether they had the jab or not, whether they had the injection. And so that was a big deal. Apparently, there's something in Cardio Miracle and what it ignites in your body that helped to fight off the COVID sickness and situation. And so maybe we could talk about that. But in terms of leaning into what's happening now in 2025, I feel like we are at a new age, a new dawn, a new time. And this is exciting for us because I feel like freedom of speech, freedom of really choosing what you want to do with your own health care. And not only in terms of with your family, but I mean, with making your own choices, I think is a huge deal. And I'm excited to see what happens into the future. I know that as I traveled overseas this last year, I noticed that the food that I ate outside of America, I could eat anything and I didn't get fat. I didn't feel sick. I mean, we went to Italy and I was eating pizza and bread, yummy bread sandwiches, where in America, if I eat a sandwich in the United States, I gain 10 pounds. If I walk by a pizza place, I gain 20 pounds just smelling it. And so I'm like, what is the difference in the food here? My hope is that with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and all that he's going to help with in the health space, that we'll be able to get things that are perhaps fake or false or harmful out of the foods, and it'll help us in our country. I really believe it. Like, we are poisoning ourselves with the foods, the way that the preservatives are in the things that we're feeding our children and are consuming ourselves. The whole country is getting fat or already fat, and that's not happening everywhere else. Yeah, so man, what's that about?
It's a lot. It's a lot. And I can appreciate a lot of what you said. First and foremost, I want to talk about what Cardio Miracle does if anybody did get the jab or the vaccine or whatever we can call it, that, you know, whatever was in there, whatever it did to your insides or whatnot, the nice thing about Cardio Miracle that we have tested and seen that it is actually going in and making everything smooth again, the nitric oxide. And that's what's so important and vital about the 24 to 36 hour sustainability of nitric oxide, is that it's going to go in and repair. Not only will Cardio Miracle and nitric oxide regulate your entire system, your endocrine and your cardiovascular system, it will go in and it will repair it, which is amazing. And so
people may not understand what that means, like endocrine system or these types of things. So explain a little bit what that means. I mean, is it almost like if you were to have a road with a bunch of those divots in it or something? I mean, what's going on in the body that you need that? Yeah,
well, what was said from other sources is that there were like a spike protein that was in this jab.
And so it went in and damaged the lining.
So it went in, it damaged the lining. They said it was like changing people's DNA, and it was doing some damage. And so instead of being in fear about not being able to fix that, if, you know, some people don't have a choice at their place of work, or, I mean, people like myself with my family that I was involved in at the time, they didn't allow me to come see a new baby that was born because I would not get the vaccine. And it, you know, to me, I just was standing by my decision, and I made that decision. I was not going to falter, and I ended up, you know, exiting that marriage. But the thing is that I had to really take my health into my own hands and make sure that I stood up for what I believed. And that's really one of our biggest charges, is that we want people to be able to have the strength to take their health into their own hands, and really just going forward, just make it happen, and, you know, not only make America healthy again, but obviously make America great again. So we're really excited about that.
Well, there are some people that might say to themselves, it's too late. Like, I already took the vaccine, you know, I'm already feeling the effects of being damaged by it. Mm-hmm. And I know that in our family, unfortunately, because of the pressures that we felt from both sides on our family side, that we decided we're going to take it. So we did do the vaccine. Obviously, to the shock of my own, the family that I grew up in, and our family, everyone was like, what are you doing?
Right.
On my wife's side of the family, they were like, well, now you can come visit us, because they said we couldn't visit them had we not taken it. That was a tough one to deal with.
Sure.
And so because my wife's mother was very sick at the time, and so we thought, well, we need to keep her protected, and we want to go see her. That was a really tough thing. Obviously, politicizing your health, that's a real problem, but that's a real thing. And so in terms of, it's never too late to come back in and help yourself. And I think that for my family, watching one of my sons in particular having actual damage from the vaccine, and I know that I felt the effects of damage from it, because in my 40s, I felt it like it was a real problem. So for those that say, well, you don't have the science to back up that it was a damaging thing, there's science out there.
Yeah.
Like, it's devastating, and people ought to go to prison for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that whether you can prevent it or not at this point, let's say you already did the damage, this can help you restore your health.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a wonderful thing, why we call it hope in a glass. So this is hope in a glass for someone that's damaged their body, that's thinking to themselves, I can't fix it. It's too late. It's never too late. Start to do this nitric oxide therapy, if you will, and that will repave the big problems in the road of your arteries, let's say.
Absolutely.
And endocrine, is that what you call it?
Yeah, the endocrine system.
Endocrine system, the endothelium. Is that what it is?
Well, in the cardiovascular system, there's this really long tube, so to speak, that's called the endothelium, that it's 1 cell thick, and basically it's in charge of all of your blood flow to your heart and to all the valves in your heart. And that is what we need to protect. And even in the even in the papers of the vaccine, it discussed attacking the endothelium in the description of the vaccine. When we got deep into the papers as to what was contained in the vaccine, we were able to find that. And we found that through, we did this big push on helping vaccine-injured pilots and vaccine-injured people, and we wanted to make sure that everyone knew that whether or not they're vaccine injured, that there is hope in a glass, and there is a chance to correct these things that could have happened in result of that.
Yeah. So then there's that one side where you got, say, vaccine injured, and you now are helping yourself with this. But let's say there are people like yourself that didn't have the vaccine, and they're just like, man, I'm glad I didn't do that. Okay, I'm on the right side of truth, and and so now, what's the point of taking this product on top of it, whether you took the vaccine or not?
Well, I like how you said, whether or not you think it's too late, it's not too late to start. And just like with us, with the gym, I can't even tell you how many times I've, stopped and restarted to finish what I started at the gym. And it's a lifelong thing. Like I heard a interview with Mr. Universe a couple of weeks ago, talking about, why do you go to the gym every day? Why do you go here? Why do you do this? And he said, why do you brush your teeth every day? Why do you so with Cardio Miracle, the reason why I'm going to continue to take it for the rest of my life is for the fact that I need to make sure that the prevention that I have helped my body prevent from happening to me, probably the many heart attacks that I've prevented, because I was almost 500 pounds. I mean,
yeah, people don't probably that are watching this know your story, right? So, look at him, and you might be like, oh, well, he looks like he's kind of a little hefty for this conversation. Let me tell you, how big were you?
Yeah, my top was 480 pounds, so I was big.
Holy smokes! You were 480?
480, yeah.
Whoa, man. Okay, so you're looking way different than that.
Yeah, now I'm sitting around 315. I did at one point, like last year, I got down to 280. So
Whoa.
I lost 200 pounds, and now I've put some back on, and now I'm starting again. And
Through the holidays?
yeah, through the holidays.
It's hard to do that, right? It's hard to continue to keep at that pace. But why don't you explain for the listeners and those watching, what is it that you did to be able to do that? I mean, to lose 200 pounds for anybody, like that's an entire human.
Yeah.
I weigh 200 right now. So
I lost you.
you lost me. So what did you do?
So I did a lot of intermittent fasting as well with the Cardio Miracle. You can drink Cardio Miracle and it doesn't break your fast. And so I would stop eating at 6 p.m. every day, and I wouldn't start eating again the next day till 2 p.m. And
how did you feel during that time? Was it like you're just dragging and you feel like you're going to eat, you're looking at like a fork and you think, I'm going to eat the fork because I can't have any food. Like, how did it feel doing that every day?
Sometimes, I mean, you'll never meet more health experts in your life until you start doing something like a 20-hour fast, 7 days a week. And people told me that I was just going to drop dead in a week, and I did it for an entire year. And the year that I did that, intermittent fasting, and then ate mostly a ketogenic diet for those 4 hours where I wasn't fasting, I felt great some days, and other days I felt a little lack in energy. But what was so helpful is that having the Cardio Miracle in my tool belt, so to speak, so that I could start my day every day and I could keep going and keep pressing on, and it would satiate me enough. But the only thing that was spiking in my blood was my vitamin D levels, not my sugar, not my insulin, not my glucose, just my vitamin D levels were boosted. And we've proven that the vitamin D levels that are actually used, they're taken from your fat stores and utilized, it actually almost triples your vitamin D when you take Cardio Miracle while in a fast.
Really? So you're saying that you wouldn't have to take supplements of a vitamin D level because it's coming out of this?
Oh yeah. No. Yeah, this is one of the best things about Cardio Miracle. With, if you go to cardiomiracle.com/studies, you will see our vitamin D study there, that if you take the time to read that, it is so informative. And you will know more about how vitamin D is utilized and what it does for your mood and what it does for your body than, I'd say, probably 80-90% of the population if you read that study. So
yeah, I don't think people take the time to really study the supplements or the reason they're taking it, other than they heard it was good or a doctor suggested it, or, for example, a majority of people just take medication to fix what's already broken.
right.
And part of what I hope with now Trump administration going is that we can say in 2025 we're going to have the healthiest our country's ever become after decades now of misinformation, of being guided to the wrong place. I mean, if you look at the food pyramid that was created before our time, I mean, it's all based upon grains and all these things that now, if you have too much bread, you're going to get fat.
Right.
I know if I have bread or dessert or anything that I really enjoy, I'm going to get overweight real fast. So I've had to lean into also, and I've lost some weight. I've lost 20, 30 pounds in the last year and kept it off, which has been great.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Meat, fish, chicken, and even just finding the right ones, because if you just buy it from any place without sourcing what it's coming from, it can still be in its own way kind of poisoned or tainted or having an issue. So
Right.
I know for me, trying to live almost a keto lifestyle, but also like maybe it's more of a caveman style. I mean, the meats, the good vegetables, some fruits. I'm very much limiting all the white carbs, the bad carbs. Once in a while, I might have some sweet potato, some rice. I mean, it's just very limited because there's something in our food that's not good, right?
Yeah.
So having all of that is really, it's hard to eat right and well in our country. And I believe that that's going to change. I think you have to assess the situation and say, okay, where's the main blood coming from in terms of how are we bleeding out? So where is the quickest place that we could attack? And I think that it very well may just be the additives in the cereals and the food coloring and the stuff that I've heard RFK talking about is like, we've got to put a stop to the extra stuff that's just put in to color something to make it look good.
Yeah.
I think that might be one of the quickest places to start, because you can't just say, okay, we're going to close all the McDonald's down because they're so unhealthy, let's say, quote unquote.
Sure. I stress this every time we talk, that the reason why we're not in the big stores, we're not in Walmart, we're not in Costco, we have those contacts and we've been approached by them, but the reason why we're not is because the efficacy is so pure, and we are sourcing from whole and organic fruits and vegetables, and the red color in this, it's from beets and watermelon, and so it's not that's the thing. But I actually heard that that there's a deadline that all red dyes need to be out of food. I heard it's 2 years, but did you hear that?
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
And that's a great start.
Yeah.
I mean, because even just food coloring makes a difference, and obviously this stuff would look disgusting without maybe the beets and the watermelon. I mean, it might look green or brown or something. It's helpful to have something that looks flavorful and good. Sure. But, you know, when you think about the margins on how this is made, we have been approached by many people that are like, look, you could cut costs, you could save so much money, you could make this much more if you just changed a couple of the ingredients. You know, we could just make it full of great other stuff. Why have we not done that when we could have easily done it?
It's just John Hewlett, the founder and formulator. He refuses to cut those corners, and he wants to make sure that we are the best and the most complete nitric oxide product on the market. And that's, if anybody asks me anytime, talk about expense, talk about taste, talk about anything, I talk about the purity, and I talk about that, how you're not going to receive this kind of benefit from a nitric oxide product out of any other, I'll put it against any other product out there on the market today.
Yeah, I agree. And the other thing is like, there's all kinds of other ways that you could get nitric oxide in your body and in your system. There are plenty of options out there. What we found, though, in the science is that lasts for a short amount of time, that nitric oxide spark and that burst that's really needed. And so it's like, I mean, you could get it other places and probably cheaper as well.
Oh, yeah.
But you're going to get way less benefit. It's not going to stay in your system for 24 to 36 hours. I mean, this has been scientifically proven to show that there's a dual pathway delivery system that really does go in and fix those potholes that are in the roadway system of your body that are just destroyed. And so whether you're on the other side of a vaccine injury or you're just prevention and working out and doing your best, I think that making America healthy again is all about finding what the big problem is. How can we fix it? Can we naturally supplement the things that we need to do to recover our country? And I think a lot of it starts right here.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I love that because, you know, if people are on existing medications, we have not seen or heard any contradictions because we're dealing with whole foods here. And with Cardio Miracle, we of course we never diagnose, we don't treat, you know, illness, whatever, we don't prescribe, but we want people to take their health into their own hands. And then if they are taking a medication, existing medication, then we say if you take it with Cardio Miracle, it's just going to get through your system faster and more effective, because that's what nitric oxide does. It's a vasodilator that makes sure that you're getting more of that blood flow, more of that healthy blood flow, and making sure that it's pure and it's good for you instead of just fighting its way through trying to get any kind of blood flow to your system. So
Yeah,
that's been
that's
one of
right.
the most amazing things. And so as we wrap up here, thanks so much for sitting down with me. And I know you're very in demand fella, so really appreciate your time, and really appreciate anyone who's watching here. And we want to encourage everybody to take a look at Cardio Miracle as hope in the glass, as well as taking your health into your own hands. And do you have any parting words for us?
I mean, it really is a great way to consider how this year is going to change for you. So if you decide that you want to be a part of the Cardio Miracle Maha program, as it were, I mean, there's obviously ways that you can get it for a good discount, and that's how you can find us here on this program. But we just appreciate everybody that watches, and I can honestly say that when you make a promise and you keep it, that is the first way to level up your self-confidence, to change a habit, to find it in yourself, to make your world better. And I love that every single day you're like, I'm going to go for a walk, I'm going to listen to a podcast, I'm going to consume my Cardio Miracle, I'm going to do my intermittent fasting. I know what my goals are so that I can keep promises to reach them. And the people that do that make a difference in this world. We are going to see these people rise to the top as we move forward in this new administration. This is the right time. This is the golden age of America is back. And it's up to us individually to play our part within that.
Love that. Thank you. Well, thank you for watching the Pulsebeat, sponsored by Cardio Miracle. And if you ever have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at support@cardiomiracle.com. But this is another episode with the Pulsebeat, sponsored by Cardio Miracle, with Jason Hewlett. Thanks for having us.